Sounds good. Hello and good evening, everybody. You are back live with the crew. Thank you so much. And as you can all tell, we have Mr. Kirk Carmichael here again with us tonight on a fine Wednesday night to educate us all about the fantastic knowledge that this man has gathered through the years, and he's willing to teach all of us 6 days a week. If you just go to his site and his link, and you can get comfortable with this, as comfortable as Elizabeth and I have become with him, and his strategy and his team and his family are amazing people. Wait till you work with, I've never heard one of my people go to him and say, well, the customer service was terrible. I have yet to have that complaint, Kirk. It's amazing in today's day and age. We love you for that.
I hope not. And that's what we pride ourselves, the reviews. The thing I'm proudest about the reviews is simply that they get fast. And I mean, lightning fast service. We got a team of people. We're now at, I think 13 people now. And we're on top of it. You get an email, they get some back. Text. We got live one-on-one people at all times, during our meetings. And, we have a calendar people can go to. So we want to help because we know that this is an education process. And it isn't about educating necessarily the truth, because it's really simple, the truth. And maybe we'll get into that tonight, how simple it really is. It's what's making it complex is to hold somebody by the hand and unravel the way that somebody's learned taxes, thinking that they just owe it. It's something they got to do. They're afraid because somebody's going to come after them or something. And anyway, yeah, so we're excited. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, we are very proud on the customer service.
Yeah, and the other thing is I got it, Allan. I got it. I sent off for it, or the whatever stage they're at. It's just so exciting for everybody to be so finally free. Finally the feeling of freedom that everybody listening to this episode can have for yourself. And it's not a mystery. It's not something scary. It's this. You can do that. You too can have this in your life. And it's when you go through the process and when you wrap your head around this entire thing, it's so freeing for everyone. And we really appreciate you and your team.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you very much. Really appreciate the comments.
So as the thumbnail says, we're going to talk about the 16th Amendment tonight, Kirk. What happens in the 16th Amendment? What's so significant about that to you?
I think let's start with, that's a great question. What is the 16th Amendment? And that's a question I've asked tax professionals. I asked a young lady, I want to say she was almost 30 years old. She's been doing taxes for people for a while. She is expiring in her career, and she had a license. And she was, in the conversation that I ran across her, she was quoting IRS codes. And I said, can I ask you a question? Do you know what the law is that actually birthed the IRS? What was the underpinning law? I don't know. She's stuck in the system, in the license they gave her, quoting IRS codes, and doesn't know how it even came into existence. Is that a problem? Because for anybody speaking or anybody listening right now, it wasn't George Washington and the IRS. They didn't coexist.
No, that didn't happen back then. Nope.
The IRS came a lot longer, and there's a storyline which I hopefully we have time to get to today, which I think we have plenty of time if we want to jump into it. And I think to answer, Allan, your question, the 16th Amendment is the federal income tax. We are not tax protesters. That law did come into play. Whether it was properly ratified or not, I think is a good argument. But even if we go by the assumption it was, and we assume it exists, we are not anti-tax. The tax does apply to some people.
That's
but
right.
The overwhelming majority of us, for me, it's never applied to me. Have you ever worked for the federal government?
No, sir.
It's never applied to you either. And what I say, look, we all did the same thing. I know, Allan, you did. We talked about this on one of the other episodes. We all did the same thing. We didn't know any better. We're 16 years old. No parent taught us. No no grandparent. Nobody said, hey, you don't work for the Army. You need to be exempt at your job, get your whole paycheck. Okay. That tax doesn't apply to you. That's a simple message. We missed that message.
Yeah.
We all did.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, well, I don't want to think too far outside the box, but gosh, can we bill them back for all those donations that we freely gave them? I wonder about.
See, you said the right word, donations, because even though they tricked us, and it is a fraud in the way they didn't give you full disclosure. If they had full disclosure, it would be a fair system, and it would be something like this. Hey guys, you're in high school right now. We're going to have a tax class. It's going to be a very fast class, by the way. If you ever go to work for the Army or the Navy or the Marines, you're going to owe your life, and everybody knows that when you sign up for the military. You owe your life to the United States. But you're also going to be a taxpayer, and you're going to have to give a portion of your money called the federal income tax. For the rest of you that never work for the federal government, don't worry about it. You'll never apply to you. Okay, that's the end of our lesson. And that would, and then it wouldn't be fraudulent. It would be okay, full disclosure, and then it would be a matter of, for me, it was the city was Sioux City, Iowa. I'm in Iowa. The year's 1987, Domino's Pizza. It would be, okay, kid, you're 16. Would you like to pay 20 or 30% of this tax that you don't owe because this is not a federal job? You just go right ahead and we'll start taking money out of your check. I go, I'm going to opt out of that. Okay.
I'm out. Yeah.
And there's no deceit. There's no fraud. But guess what? We all opted in because of the lack of full disclosure. Nobody taught us this thing.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. It's actually stupid. It's really dumb. And I can say, look, this is dumb. I feel like I have to teach on a dumb level here because of how dumb it is that we've all been hooked into it because nobody told us how it really worked.
It's sad, but so true. And yet I hear people go through your classes, a couple of your classes, and then they come to me and but I'm so scared, Allan, because, Wesley Snipes or whatever, and I'm just like, I know, I get it. I understand why the fear is there. I really do. But at some point, you got to step
somebody
out.
said one of my, because when I would get Wesley Snipes, one time I got Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart went to jail. I said, I think she went to jail for insider trading.
She did.
I know somebody that went to jail. I don't need to know why they went to jail. Just they went to jail. Well, that doesn't help.
Well, Martha
did you know
Stewart,
that Wesley Snipes, he signed a tax return and he said, you owe me $7.5 million. So who's done that one before?
Yeah, he was kind of asking for it.
Yeah, they didn't listen to his arguments because it was about the contract that he said, you owe me $7.5 million. I didn't try that.
No, I wouldn't try that either. It's best to keep your head down low. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's very it's fun to me because when the light bulb really goes off and you really get it, you're like, it couldn't have been that easy. Absolutely couldn't have been that easy.
Yeah.
And it is. And it's not difficult and not complicated.
It is. And and with that being said, maybe on segueing into our topic of the 16th Amendment, there's a lot of details in history. And once you compile them all, not all, nobody has them all. There's so many. If you get the major bullet points, let's call it a 100-piece puzzle. If you only have a couple pieces, then fear will overwhelm you. You're like, okay, I get it, sir, but I'm too scared. But once you put them on at least 95 of them together, you go, oh, wait a second. I understand this now. And so like when we get into I got some very important bullet points to share regarding the surrounding history of the 16th Amendment to paint part of the story. But I think this has to be done in maybe a 2-part session because the second part will be their rights, like the U.S. Constitution.
Right.
So just so you know, chronologically here, George Washington signed the U.S. Constitution. Him and 38 others. And maybe that's, if there is a next show, maybe we need to do that on the next show, okay? Because when you know your rights, you're not afraid. But then when we back our way into what I'm about to go to, hopefully I can share enough details. You see how they were able to trick an entire nation with this so-called 16th Amendment.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Let's get into it. I was about to go off into another tangent. Let's not go there. Let's get into what the 16th Amendment actually says.
Yes.
And what it really means.
Yes, let's do that. Okay. So to lead up to that, I got a few slides to show. So hopefully this will help the audience to get into the story here. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully I'm successful here.
Yeah, I think you
can. To right here.
I'll have to pull it up, but yeah, okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So this is how in general we have been taught in general how taxation works. Now, before 1913, now for anybody that doesn't know what we're dealing with 1913, we are dealing with the 16th Amendment was passed in February of 1913. And so before 1913, we printed our own money. Isn't that neat? Isn't that a good idea?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe we should talk about that for a minute. How important it is for a country to print their own money? Like that should really strike somebody like, what? We don't print our own money. And I'm going to show you the money that we have now, and it's not our own money. And that is the foundation of this understanding, right? Right, Allan?
1913. Yep.
That happened as well in the same year. And we're going to get to that. Yep. So before 1913, we printed our own money, and there was no federal income tax. So from George Washington in the year 1787 to 89 was when the revised Constitution was established. We might talk about that next week. That's your rights, and it's still in play today. And there's actually rights against being taxed by the national government in that body of law. From that point to 1913, we print our own money, and there was no federal income tax. Okay, then post 1913, there's our government, and there we are with our dollar bill in our hand, and I'm just a good American paying my taxes, and the IRS is collecting my money, and that money goes to my government. That is the way we think it works. That is the way general perception works. Not $1 of that money goes to the police department, the fire departments, your local republic, the parks, recreation, your transportation network, gas tax, road tax, sales tax, property tax. They pay for those type of things. Not $1 goes to your government because it doesn't work that way. This is how it works right here. This is the reality. There's your government, and I'm about ready to introduce the people that robbed our country and they made it a law that by which they robbed us. And you're looking at the Rockefellers, Rothschild, J.P. Morgan, the Vanderbilt family, Paul Warburg. They were in a secret meeting that they formed what was called the Federal Reserve. And I know, Allan, you have had to hit on this in different arenas, probably, right, over the length of your channel on how money works, right?
That's correct.
And the function of money is that our government survives since 1913 by loans. And then the first thing you should ask ourselves, well, who do we get our loans from? China? What is there another country that loans us money? Oh, no. You see, these private folks made it law that they could print money from nothing, from zero, from nothing, from an account that doesn't exist. Now, if you write a check from a checkbook that doesn't exist, even if it's for $100, you'd go to jail because you can't write a check on an account that doesn't exist. They made it law. And that is the function of how money works and how our government gets by. And remember the government shutdown a few months ago?
Sure.
We couldn't get by. What were they doing? Well, all the workers were off, and we're all wondering, are they going to raise the debt ceiling? Well, it's right here. You're staring at it. They had to figure out how can they keep increasing the national debt that keeps going up and up and up because that's the only way by which they get by. And there's the IRS right there to collect your money. And there you are with your dollar bill. You think I'm just a good American. And see, when somebody is taught this from this perspective, no, you're not a good American paying your taxes. You've been robbed and you've been deceived and you're scared. You're scared. This whole thing is, I'm just paying my taxes to my government. No, that's not where it goes. It's called aiding and abetting in a crime when you're actually helping the enemy. This is the enemy to our nation, and they have been bringing our country to our knees. And there will be a day that they will pull the rug from everybody, whatever their agenda is, however that works. We're not in a date telling. I'm sure, Allan, you stay far, far away from that and trying to predict what they're going to do. But they have the power to just send a tweet out, when Twitter existed, I guess, and they could send the stock market crumbling on any piece of information. So this is how it works. The money goes to the IRS and they pay down the alleged national debt and the interest on it. So as we back our way into the 16th Amendment, I'm going to show you a quick timeline. Our country was founded on the very basis of a revolutionary war against what? Taxation. It was taxation without representation. There was a forced tax called a direct tax put on the American people. And we know the history that we won that war. We united. That's why we're called the United 50 Jurisdictions, the United States. That's why we came up with that name, because the colonies bonded together. And they beat out the English people who were the King of England putting on this tax on the people. Our first constitution was called the Articles of Confederation. This cemented it in stone that the states had the power to tax, not the federal government. They made sure of that, because what would be the point of giving up their sovereignty, state sovereignty or colony sovereignty at the time, just so they could be governed by another third party? That would make no sense. And then it didn't happen that way. On my long teaching on this on our website, I have a longer version. I go into more details.
Sure.
And I show you what the Articles of Confederation say. You can actually read the Constitution. Then the war ended in 1783. And here is your rights right here. This is 1789. This is what we're talking about. George Washington and 38 other signers gave us our rights. In that body of law is the Bill of Rights, which is the right to bear arms, the right to remain silent, the right to a jury trial, and inside of those rights is your right to not be taxed by a national government. Now, as we lay this foundation, here is one of the biggest issues that arose, which is our national government formed their own jurisdiction. That's why they call it the District of Columbia. It's its own jurisdiction. And now they could pass a law or some kind of an act inside of their 10 square mile area, and it would only apply to that territory. That's a big difference, where they used to be called the Continental Congress, that they met in all kinds of different states until they formed their own little territory, own jurisdiction, called it the District of Columbia. Now, in my teachings, I go into much bigger history of the conspiracy and why they did that, and what Alexander Hamilton did in forming that, being the proponent of that territory. But anyway, based on this foundation and the District of Columbia came the year 1913. Do you see, Allan? I'm still with you, right?
Yeah.
Do you see the time period on the top there? There's quite a bit of time. I tried to share how long that was between 1790 and 1913.
Yeah, that's a long time. That's
a long time.
20 years, right?
124 years since the passing of the revised Constitution. And again, in my extended teachings, I show how much that the bankers tried to get their grubby mitts on our country. They tried to form 3 different central banks until they finally formed the Federal Reserve. And there's a whole history behind that. They accomplished that in 1913. And that's why I have the year 1913 at the bottom of my screen. In 1 year, in 1913 was the passing of the 16th Amendment, the creation of the IRS, which the IRS was born in 1913 to collect the debt from the 16th Amendment. And the Federal Reserve Act gave our money supply to the bankers. I'm going to tie that in a minute, just showing my timeline. But before I do that, I'm going to share a mammoth issue that took place that most people are unaware of. Now, do you see this timeline? 1894 was called the Wilson-Gorman tax. Most people are probably unaware of this. And the reason why this is so important, Allan, this was their very last attempt. They had tried through the Civil War, put a Civil War tax on the people. They tried through many different central bank options, and this was their last attempt. They tried to pass a tax, and they just wanted to get their foot in the door. I think it was just a 2% tax on the wealthy, but it was a tax on people's income. It was called the Wilson-Gorman tax. The reason why this is so significant, Allan, is this. There was a Supreme Court decision 1 year later. This only lasted less than 12 months. A Supreme Court decision overturned that Wilson-Gorman tax, and I have a little snippet of what it says. This is the Supreme Court's decision, which is the supreme law of the land. And that's their interpretation of the Constitution. The Constitution being in 1789. Look at what it says. There is a clear distinction between profit and wages or compensation for labor. Compensation for labor cannot be regarded as profit within the meaning of the law. They're talking about the 1789 U.S. Constitution. Right. Nothing can be more clear than that which the Constitution intended to guard against: the exercise by the general government of the power of directly taxing persons and properties within any state, any republic. Okay, now this is called, so anybody, I think people need to commit this to memory, because this becomes a landmark decision. It's called Pollock versus Farmers Loan and Trust. Okay, Pollock versus Farmers Loan Company. Okay, 1895 was the year, right here, 1895. Now, do you see the time period between 1895 and 1913? I'm going to shorten that 4 years and wait till you see what we're going to look at now. You see, every law that gets passed, it gets passed through Congress. So laws aren't decided by the president. They're supposed to be decided by the legislative branch of Congress. Okay, and that's what we're going to look at right now. The year's 1913. Now, I'm going to back up 4 years into 1909. 1909 is only 14 years. 14 years would be like, Allan, do you remember a lot that went on? I mean, if there was something major that happened in, I don't know, 2012, it would be in our front of our memory, right?
Sure.
If it was major, I mean, we even remember the mortgage crisis of 2009.
Yeah.
We remember 9/11 like it was yesterday. I mean, in 2001, right? This decision regarding a federal income tax was a landmark decision, and it was the last attempt that they had. So here comes the conspiracy. The powers of darkness knew that they could not put a bill in front of the congressman who represented you in Georgia. And what about you in Virginia? You in Kansas? Hey, we're not forgetting about you in Oregon, Utah, Montana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Mississippi, and Alabama. And what about you, Kentucky and Michigan? We're not forgetting about any of you folks. Okay. Yeah. They knew if they even tried to put a tax on the people, on the state citizens, it would be struck down immediately. There's nobody that would have voted for that. It's already been a landmark decision. And so they tried a different angle. This is the point. The 16th Amendment was passed in February of 1913. But what we're going to do is we are going to get into the minds of the 435 House of Representatives and the 100 senators. When I researched this topic, There were as many House of Representatives back in 1913 as there are today. 435 House of Representatives.
Wow.
They represented at that time there was 48 states that they represented your interest in Kansas, your interest in Missouri and Iowa and Nebraska. They're going to hear from the people putting the bills, whatever bill they put before the Congress. They hear it, they pass it. So what we're doing is we are rewinding time as if we were in the room, because guess what? We are in the room. You ready for this? What was the bill that was proposed that they heard? Believe it or not, we have the transcript. There's no doubt what was said. We actually have the transcript of what was said in 1909. So the way I bring this forth is, look, what's even more important than the letter of the law is the intent of the law. And we are going to read it as it first was passed in 1909. It's called the Congressional Record. And this is from pages 3344 to 3345, the Congressional Record, June 16th, 1909. The traitor president at the time was President Taft. He was the president before Wilson in 1909. And every bill, doesn't matter what it is, that has to go through Congress, it begins as an idea. So here's the idea, and here's the transcript. It begins with this. This is Taft's own words. Now, remember the Pollock decision. He could not get around the Pollock decision, so he's going to address it square on. Read the words. The House of Representatives has adapted the suggestion and has provided in the bill it passed for the collection of such a tax. In the Senate, the action of its Finance Committee and the course of the debate indicate that it may not agree to this provision. And it is now proposed to make up the deficit by imposing of a general income tax in the form and substance of almost exactly the same character as that which, in the case of Pollock versus Farmers Loan and Trust Company, was held by the Supreme Court to be a direct tax, and therefore not, capital N, not within the power of the federal government to impose unless apportioned amongst the several states according to population. He continues, again, it is clear that by the enactment of the proposed law, the Congress will not be bringing money into the Treasury to meet the present deficiency. The decision of the Supreme Court in the income tax cases deprived the national government of a power which, by reason of previous decisions of the court, it was generally supposed that the government had. And he ends with this. I therefore recommend to Congress that both houses by a 2/3 vote shall propose an amendment to the Constitution conferring the power to levy an income tax upon Kansas, Michigan, West Virginia. No, he didn't say that. He said upon the national government. It's called a federal income tax since the very beginning because it was a tax on the federal government itself and not state citizens. And he knew it and they knew it. And guess what? They passed it. Hey, Kansas, are you okay that the national government's going to tax the folks in Washington, D.C.? Well, that's not our business. Go ahead. That's why it was allowed to be passed. And that was the agenda, to go ahead and pass a law that they would all agree to. It's part of a two-step agreement that I'm going to get to in a minute. So what was the bill that they heard? This is what they heard. It was a tax on the federal government itself, not on you in Texas and you in Oklahoma. We see you there in Arkansas and Missouri and Illinois. Don't forget about you in Indiana. And if you're in Columbus, Ohio, you're fine, okay? It was a tax on the federal government. Always was from the very beginning, and always still is today. Still is. That's the law. That's the way it was read. That's the way it was passed. And anything or anybody that works for Washington, D.C. Now, in looking at the Constitution side by side here, I want you to read, and we can get into this next week. We're going to get in, if we have time, if you want to do it, Allan, we will look at the underlying Constitution, which is this right here. This is your 1789 rights. This is your right. This is your right to not be taxed by the national government. It's directly addressing us, state citizens. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 4 states, no capitation or other direct tax shall be laid unless in proportion to the census. That is what the Pollock decision was quoting. It said, we can't tax them, and it's depriving them of their labor, which is non-taxable. And this is saying no direct tax unless it's in proportion to the census. And then when we get to the reading of the 16th Amendment, which was 124 years later, 1913, it says this: Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived. Now it's a little bit fancy here. Instead of saying a direct tax, they say without apportionment. And what does this mean? It means a direct tax. Without apportionment among the several states. And what does it say? Without regard to any census or enumeration. On the left, no direct tax. On the right, a direct tax. On the left, unless in proportion to the census. And on the right, without regard to any census. And see, that's how they could pass it in this weird wording that, I don't know, tax gurus will look at this today and they'll have their own spin on it. But the whole idea is you got to go back to 1913. And the reason why they could pass a direct tax, and without what this is meaning here, unless in proportion to the census, we don't have to have the census agreement to tax the people. We are going to go ahead and tax them directly because they're only taxing a 10 square mile area. That is what they are saying, and that's how the law applied. And that's how it was then. That's how it is today.
Wow. It all seems now so simple, really, doesn't it? When you hear it explained like that, we always ask ourselves, well, what took place? Why would the American citizens? Why would the Senate? Why would Congress? Why would any of those people in 1913 put up with this? Like what conspired bribes, I guess, many other things, I'm sure at the time. What would allow them to even like skirt the idea of that means tax all the people?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you see, the way I put it like this, do you know that Congress is passing laws as we speak that don't apply to us?
Right. Yeah.
Who keeps up on laws that Congress passes that doesn't apply to them? When the 16th Amendment was passed, think about it, especially in the age of no internet, who would have kept up with a law that didn't apply to them? It would have been understood that they weren't getting taxed in February of 1913. So the way they reeled them in was first World War I. Hey, we need support here. You could be a taxpayer. And the IRS was starting to throw offers out to sign a contract. It's called the 1040 form. It was called that back then. It's a contract. Yeah. And so guess what? When you opt in and you agree to it, now you become a taxpayer. Now you think mentally, because you've been doing this since you were 16, I just got to pay taxes. It's not the law you pay taxes. You pay taxes because you opted in by signing an agreement. And so what was the drumbeat? I can almost hear it right now. Oh, like George W. Bush here? Oh, they got weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction. And that's the drumbeat for the bankers after 9/11, weapons of mass destruction. Weapons. And then all of a sudden the people started believing it. Oh my gosh, we gotta go get those people. Let's go bomb Iraq. Let's go. We get And then what we find? No weapons of mass destruction. And so what was it back then? National debt. Oh, there's a national debt. You're in South Carolina. Oh my gosh, there's a national debt. What are we going to do? I'm paying my taxes there. My government needs my money. There's a national debt.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at all those jets we pay for. Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah. It's comical. Yeah. It's tough to get it past people though, because it's so ingrained in us, and we have fear of going to jail and all the rest of it, But
then stop signing under penalty of perjury. That's why people go to jail. Yeah. And by the way, that's why Wesley Snipes went to jail. He signed under penalty of perjury. That's the answer.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I have a new marketing ad we put out, and it was in one of my teachings. My brother took a snap, and I was kind of emphatic. I'm going to go to jail because I don't sign a contract, right? You're
Yeah.
the one signing under penalty of perjury. And so that's a hard one for people to really grasp. It's because April's coming around the corner, April 15th. Guess what? When you sign it, you do owe that money. But right now, you don't even owe 2025 taxes yet. I don't care how many you won the lottery last year. It doesn't matter if you won the lottery last year. It doesn't matter. You got 1099s for several $100,000. Doesn't matter. You have W-2 income. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what was reported. It matters about you signing under penalty of perjury. You know why? Because they would commit treason. Because we just looked at the law, they would commit treason if they just knocked on your door. Hey, you won the lottery last year. You got to pay us. They work in administrative letters. And if you know what that means and what they're saying, you go, that's not a big deal. I'm going to tell them that doesn't apply to me. I'm not in their jurisdiction. And there's a method behind that. We teach that method. It's really simple. That's it.
That's so the whole process that of the many years of what's been happening. There's not. Do you know how many people can't even tell you what the capital city of their state is? I mean, people today, it's amazing to me. Like
Los Angeles, right? Isn't it Los Angeles?
It's just comical that people don't care. People just do what their parents told them or what everybody else does, or they just listen to what the lemmings and the sheep tell them to do. That's it. It's really crazy. I was telling you, I think before the show, I was talking with these friends of mine, and none of them could explain to me how money is created. Two of the men in the room are bankers.
Wow.
They have no concept of how money was created or is created or brought into play into our system. And the whole discussion got started because I was talking about the Cantillon effect, which is, I'm sure you know what it is, but it's like money is more powerful when it first gets created. It has more strength. It has more push, more oomph. By the time it trickles down to the people, it doesn't have any energy left in it. And I was trying to explain this because they were talking about we were going to borrow these big loans and pay them back later in life. I go, well, that's perfect, because money borrowed today, earning money today is so valuable in the future.
Yeah.
That's what we don't get, because like in the future, even though you're paying a lot today, the inflation years from now is going to seem very simple to you.
Right.
Anybody with a house payment from 20 years ago is laughing right now, going, oh man, I don't have a house payment. Yeah.
Right.
Great. Yeah. They didn't even understand the concept of what the Federal Reserve does. They think the Federal Reserve just hands us money. And it's like, no, that's not what happens. There's a bond, right? And they're like, yeah, there's something about
the treasury bond.
Yeah, people have no idea even what a bond is. It's so annoying. But anyway, I don't want to get into that because then we'll confuse everybody. Yeah. What do you say about when people ask you, okay, what's my best way to get past the fear of doing this process? Because like information is empowering, obviously. Yeah. What have you seen work the best?
There's only one way. It's to actually get involved. What's the best way to become a better basketball player? Is it to think about basketball all day long? Is it to, I don't know, watch a game? Is it to watch a game? Does that make you a better player? No. How are you going to get stronger just by thinking about, well, I'm going to lose weight by what? Just thinking about not eating food? No. We have a daily, every day, 6 days a week, 10 a.m. to noon Pacific time. Once you join even a few times, you start saying, wow, there's a lot of people doing this. And we're all of us are having success. There is just something psychological in the same way that we're defeated. Because the enemy, the devil, tries to say, nope, you're going to jail, and you're believe me, your well-meaning dragon friends, they're going to tell you you're going to jail. And so like, I'm scared. This sounds true, but what about this? And what about that? What about this? And you go there, look, there are all easy answers to that, but it's because you're alone and you're isolated and you don't have enough information. You do need information, of course. And we teach that. And we have a lot of teaching on our website. But when you get involved and you're in this group and you realize we're all doing this together, this is an amazing family. It's just like your family, Allan. It's like, you know, when you come together, there's something much greater that can be accomplished than any individual person.
Kirk, we have a question here. How many people have done this process to date?
Several thousand. I would say in the last 3 to 4 months, well over 1,000. And we're the community is growing rapidly, exponentially, because we're all having success. You know, I did answer it this way one time. Somebody actually came on our show and they said, you know, how many people have been to court or been to jail or whatever? I said, only about 22 people. And we have 3 people that are in trouble right now, but we have an 87% ratio. It's not too bad. No, if we said that, you know, I'm sorry. If I even said that one person is in jail right now, like Wesley Snipes, no, nobody. Jail doesn't exist, and we all have success simply because the tax does not apply to you. You should be as afraid of doing this as the Mexican government hopping over the fence and raiding your bank account. What are the odds that'll happen? That's kind of how I answer it. If you're afraid of the Mexican government raiding your bank account and you live in America, you have a bigger problem than how I can answer that. And that ain't going to happen because of the law. It's on your side, and there's a way to do this. You just have to notify them. I'm sorry, I'm opting out. The tax doesn't apply to me. Go figure. You got me. You got me for 30 years. Good job. And they're like, okay, great. Have a good day. Yeah.
There's so many other fish to fry. They're not coming after this. And by the way, if they do come after one of us or many
Somebody
of us.
said I just freaked them out. 22 is not bad. We have 3 guys in jail right now, but you know.
Yeah, don't freak anybody out.
No, never. It doesn't happen that way.
No, you're not going to get in trouble. But one of the safe ways that I tell people, and maybe you could help me with this, like instead of doing your personal name, you could do a private company, correct?
Yeah.
That's the easy way to start your way into this whole process.
Sure.
Yeah.
And everybody has a different scenario, and we can talk about whatever somebody's situation is. Some people, it's great to have an association that's a different name altogether, the business name. Some people, it's a great strategy to actually mirror your name on your driver's license because it's not you. And when you set up a bank account, it's not you either. It's a different EIN number, tax identification number, tax exempt. It's unincorporated, not under the laws of the District of Columbia, no oversight. But ultimately, it's the second tool that I've been talking most about, not just the association. The other tool is to what's called revoke your election. That's their process. Now, because they have deceived us, they bury it in their own codes. They say if somebody wants to unvolunteer, I'm just paraphrasing what they're saying, you have to cancel what they call your election. Terminate your election. You say, I've been volunteering for 35 years. I don't work for the military. Yeah, I'm going to cancel that contract I have with you. It's that simple. It really is that simple. Yeah. So we help you with both. And again, operating like Allan says, operating in an association is a great maneuver. It moves all your assets out of your Social Security number, and you have nothing to even report anymore.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're in poverty level taxation. Alan Staple, all of a sudden he makes 10 grand a year now. It's like, what? Yeah, because all the funds are going to the company, and it's like, well, okay, you owe me money at the end of the year.
I've been collecting food stamps for 14 years. I make no money. I make nothing. My twin brother is on the street with a "Will Work for Food" sign. I think I saw him today. So you don't have any money. You actually use what the system has designed to trap us, because these applications are gateways of misunderstanding. When you get funded for government benefits, that's the point of your Social Security number. But they trap good many people that are in the middle ground. They're running in a hamster wheel, trying to make more money, and yet the very little money they make works against them in their application. By which, like you said, how is money created? You create it. You create it by a signature on a contract. So you sign that. I don't make no money. Well, let's go ahead and give you some food. Do you want some medical insurance too? Yeah, sign me up. In fact, I'm kind of limping right now. I need some disability too. Okay, we'll give you some of that too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And
that's what it's for. We've been trapped with misunderstanding.
Atlantic Living said something here, and I have to second this. It's so important. What an amazing awakening. This is, I've been doing, I don't know, YouTube for 5 or 6 years now, but I've also been a study of economics since junior high school. I mean, I tell this story a lot, but I was the geek in junior high school that had the Wall Street Journal under my arm. You know, I was into finance and economics, and I've studied it from every angle. I started wearing a tinfoil hat before 9/11. Like, I've been down this road for a very long time. And when miracles, I'm going to call it what it is, come across your table, and all of a sudden you see it, and then you know it. Like, I've been looking for you, Kirk, for 30 years. And and I'm one of those people that, you know, God shines a light and says, believe this. I don't know what it is. I get clarity quickly.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, I was like, this is real. I know this works. And I knew it did. And a lot of people, they don't resonate like that as quickly, and they have to be convinced or whatever it might be. That's fine. You go to the meetings. If you study this long enough, that light bulb will come on for you. But the thing for me was, I knew it pretty quickly because I know the man. I know who you are. I know who your family is now, but we become friends.
Yeah.
But also, it was bigger than that. The words, the jurisdiction, the laws, the rules, all of that. I knew all the parameter. I had it circled. I had no idea how to get in there and do it. Yeah. And that's
here's like, and Allan, thank you very much. I truly take that to heart, because God showed me this 4 years ago. He showed me there's a lot of people where I wish I would have heard this in 2009, because that's the year that I heard this. I would have been like, I look at myself and go, myself would have begged to hear myself speak to me back before I knew these things. I said, I have to do something meaningful and reach people with this message. But here's the main point. This is not theory. I'm not giving you book knowledge, because there's gurus out there, and there's a lot of truth out there. I'm never going to come against sovereign citizen information, because there's a lot of truth. It's very true. You don't need a driver's license to drive. That is true. And stuff like that. And we have gotten ourselves in this bind by a lot of contracts. That's true too. But the real issue is, I am not a guy hunkering down in Montana on my ranch. The government's not going to mess with me and make some stuff up. I did this with millions of dollars in the fight, and it took 10 years of throwing their letters away, and they wouldn't go away. They couldn't find my assets, which is the first tool, is the association. They couldn't find anything because I didn't have anything in my social security number. Fortunately, I knew that enough on that, and I had that tool in my belt. It took me 10 years to get the other one and get them completely shut the door with a real experience, you know? So this is
we covered that story a couple of weeks ago. That was such a fantastic story. I urge anybody who's just catching up, you can look back at these shows in series, and we're going to keep doing these in series. And if you have any questions, please go to Kirk's show. He's 6 days a week. How many people do you know with that much conviction? He puts his name on it. He writes a book about it. He's helped thousands of people do this. Like, if anybody has a target on his back, it's Kirk, right? If anybody did. And there's nothing to aim at. There's no.
It's quite an honor if they chose me as a target. And I even told my wife, I'm like, I guess if I disappear, you know what happened. But at the same time, it's kind of an honor system, the way that the elite of the world work this way. They put the Alex Joneses out there. They put a few people to shout the truth to some degree. You can't hit the nail on the head. You better not talk about Jesuits. You better leave Israel alone. There's certain
Yeah.
things you leave alone. As long as they're taking enough truth, they don't mind throwing it out there. And I'm telling you the blunt truth. This is how it works, but it is a voluntary system. And we look, if we had 1 million people, I don't know, that's crazy numbers. I mean, we only have a handful, like 5,000-10,000 people. That's such a tiny number. And you know this, nobody's going to believe you anyway. They laugh at me telling you guys the truth because you're going to go run and tell, you're going to run right into a brick wall. Your little heart's all excited. Oh my gosh, I found a solution. And the wife goes, yep, I don't believe that. That sounds too good to be true. And all of a sudden, it falls to the ground. They know it won't go that far because they've done a great job of conditioning Americans.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And the world we live in today, it goes like this. It doesn't matter what evidence, proof, or whatever you have. There's somebody who just absolutely is never going to believe it. It doesn't even matter if it's holding in your hands. Here's the evidence. Here's the whole thing. Here's the deal. It doesn't matter what the story is. There's somebody who's just going to look at it and go, well, that's not what I believe. It's so complicated, the world today. They could come out and say, hey, you know what? The whole U.S. government's a scam tomorrow on evening news. And nothing would change. Nothing. Everybody would just keep doing the same thing and believing the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no way. That's way too good to be true. And you go, no, this is too bad to be true because you believe what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. It's false evidence is appearing real. That's it. And all of it comes to us in due time. And you know what? There's a lot of people out there that, hey, you know what? They're never going to get it. Then that's okay. And I understand that. And good for them. They're doing their deal. And we need those people too, to some degree. But the people that really want it, like the people I know, like everyone that follows my channel, there's 25,000 subscribers that I know those people deep inside are looking for an answer to, hey, I'm the person that took the risk with this crypto. I am the guy that made all the money. You guys all told me it was a scam and it turned out not to be a scam. And I made all this money. And now you want to tax me on it? You want to tax me on the capital gains that I took all the risk? You took no risk. I paid taxes on the money that I paid for the crypto with. And now you want capital gains tax on top of that. Well, you know what? If you don't feel like paying that, you don't have to. And there's ways to do that. And this man right here is absolutely the best way of not doing that I've ever come across in my 30 years of studying taxation. There's just nobody even close.
I just thank God that he gave me, first of all, he allowed me to live. He allowed me to live this out. At times, is looking pretty shady. I knew I was on truth. I didn't have all the answers, but I pursued it to the point where I figured it out. And I figured out at a very deep level. I can teach people why they get their letters and what they mean. That's valuable. If you get a letter in the mail from the IRS, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And you throw it away and ignore it. That ain't going to go away. Or you go to the tax guy and he'll figure it out. Yeah, he's going to help you sign contracts. But when you realize what it actually says, you'll laugh. You will laugh hysterically that they actually tell you. Have we shared that yet? The letters, the IRS letters?
Yeah, we shared that too a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, the mistake. They're making a mistake. I'm glad you reminded me. I don't remember who I'm talking to or however, but yeah.
I know, it's okay. But we did. Those were powerful. Like, oh no, this thought it said this person is all paid up or something. It was all.
Oh, that too. That too. We showed the back end of their system, right? We showed you can log into your own account. Now, how would your spouse be afraid if you logged in the back account? It says no return is needed. It says that. He's
all good.
Yeah.
I have to share a story with you because we don't have a lot of time left. Unfortunately, I got another meeting. I have to share this quick story with you. A very good friend of you and I's, I won't use his name right now, but you know him very well. His brother actually has agents going to his door right now with badges and saying, hey, he just has a small little business. It's a little carpet store or something in his hometown. And these agents have harassed him to the point to where they're at his door now with badges, IRS badges.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Do you think there's anything Kirk can do for him?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah. In fact, don't let
Yeah.
him do anything stupid in April. Get a hold of Kirk immediately."
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I would love to hear his story a little bit more too. Yeah, that's
oh,
true.
you should. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll let you know after the show. I'll let you know who it was or who it is. I would
Yep.
tell everybody in the show. I'm not trying to hide it, but it's a very personal friend of mine, and I don't have his permission. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But what in that case, what would you do for somebody like that, Kirk?
Well, the jurisdictional thing, they don't have rights. You have rights, and those rights are protected by the Constitution. But if you don't know your rights, and B, if you don't know them, you're not going to assert them. And it may be a contractual issue where he's in a contract with them, so they have a right to. In the IRS's case, you let them be the beneficiary of your trust. They have a private contractual right to contact you. They do. But when
Yeah,
you block that and stop that and say you're going to get your rights back and you cut that contractual tie off, now they don't have any rights.
right. Love that.
So yeah, I'd love to talk to them and see what the underlying issues are. But yeah, it's all about jurisdiction.
Yeah. Can you imagine going after some small town business operators just trying to make a buck and they're pounding on his door?
Yeah.
Like to me, that's just so Gestapo. Like, what is that?
Mhm.
Like, really? you know,
Yeah.
like how much could that guy possibly really owe you people? And what kind of power trip are you on? You know?
Hmm.
And let alone we got, oh, I don't know, like half the politicians in the world stealing money left and right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes
Yep.
me wonder, we brought what's her name up earlier. I was thinking to myself, what I wonder what she must have done for her to get caught. Like she pissed off the wrong people. But anyway, so did Wesley Snipes, but
Well, he did it to himself.
yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
I wouldn't sign a contract saying you owe me $7.5 million. I wouldn't, even my ignorant stages, I wouldn't do that. Like that doesn't sound very smart.
yeah, no, it doesn't sound good at all.
No. I mean, that's pretty. Yeah. Hey, IRS, you owe me $7.5 million. I'm signing under penalty of perjury, and we're going to go to court on this. You're going to go to jail because you don't
Yeah, that's right.
we don't owe you that, and we're going to
This,
prove it by your own signatures.
yeah, uh, it's. I don't even know. I mean, I've met a couple of these people. There's Cody's probably not even in the chat tonight, but it's really kind of. I mean, I know why he took the job. He had a family to feed, but he worked for the IRS, and he was like, "Man, I'm out." Trump gave him a way out, and he took it. So anyway,
Hey,
it's
we have
very.
we
Go
have a
ahead.
lady that says that she had her bank account taken and a lien on her house, and she's concerned. I just saw this pop up, and yeah, of course. Now that you see, hopefully you heard what we're talking about. Now, if you backfill, ma'am, if you backfill the information, how many letters did they send at you in the mail? Because they had to send letters, and they give you notice. They give you notice. They give you notice. They give you notice. And if you would have known, all they're waiting for you to say is this: that tax doesn't apply to me. Now you don't know. You wouldn't know that that's true. You also would have known how to articulate that to them. It's called a revocation election. That's all you would have had to do to stop the process. But like if you did what I did, which is I know what you did because that's what I did, for 10 years I threw those letters away. And they kept trying to snowball my assets. They didn't have any. They didn't have any, and I didn't have any in play. So I couldn't get a lien. They didn't have any assets. They couldn't take my bank account. I didn't have a bank account and my social security number. Fortunately, I knew that much. But otherwise, I would have followed the same single story. Every single one. See, the tax attorney. Okay, that's the problem there. See, attorneys, the word attorney means to turn over. Turn over, a turn. They're turning you over. Their only job is to keep you in contract with the IRS. And yeah, well, they'll help you either get in contract with them or have you allow you to keep the administrative process steamrolling over you. You have to know your rights. If you would have known your rights, hey, wait a second, they don't have the right to tax me, period. how bizarre that is to look at your situation now and go, they really terrorized me, because you allowed them to, and it's not your fault. All of us got in the system the same way. If you simply would have known, I can stop this by communicating administratively to them before anybody even touches my bank accounts, before we even go into any liens and all that stuff. It's crazy. That's all you had to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and they've been preying on the weak for so long, and they're so good at it, and they feel like they have this almighty power, and they think they're doing the right thing, being a tax attorney, because they think they're helping people out. Because to some degree, I guess in some ways they do. Like
Sometimes,
you could pay, sometimes instead of paying $100,000, you only pay 80 or something.
But they're handcuffed. They can't tell you that you don't owe that tax, because they wouldn't be a tax attorney anymore.
No, that's
they
right.
would be a plumber. They would be a plumber.
Yeah. No, that's right. And I run into this all the time too, right? I can apply it to crypto. Like, people would say to me, okay, well, I talked to my 30-year attorney and my accountant, and they told me that this trust that I'm working with, the one with April, and I'm working with this trust, and they say it's not legal. And I say, okay, that's your accountant and you're an attorney. Yeah. I said, does your accountant and your attorney know everything there is to know about trusts? Well, I would assume after 30 years. And I'm like, well, okay, let me just say this. Is that the same accountant and attorney that told you that buying XRP was a bad idea 10 years ago? Is that the same person? Because that's probably who they are, right? They're only going to tell you what they can tell you.
Or what they're regulated to tell you. The doctor can't give you a holistic remedy. They're going to say, You're really sick? Well, we can either remove body parts tomorrow, or we can put you on so much radiation you might die from that.
Yeah, that's it. But if you think about this, I know, because I'm married to one, attorneys, okay, they can always tell you no. They only get in trouble when they tell you yes. Oh, yeah, you can go do that. Yeah, you can go do that. Well, wait a minute, I got in trouble. You told me I could do that. They never get in trouble by telling you no. Stick to the basics. Only do the middle. Because that way, their neck is never on the line. Mm-hmm. That's how attorneys think. Hey, just go along, get along with the system, stay with the court system. Don't ever go outside of the rules. Mm-hmm. That's how they keep the whole system running.
Yeah.
Most of them don't do it intentionally. Most of them are just doing it because it's the only thing they know.
Yeah. But that's all. That's their livelihood, and they have to keep their license.
That's right. That's it. Kirk, what do you think we should cover next Wednesday's show? Because
I tell you what, the conspiracy aspect, there's a lot of fingerprints on showing people that they tell us the conspiracy that took place. And we could dovetail into stamping this of how we can prove that for sure that's what they did to deceive us. Or the U.S. Constitution is to know your rights. People need to know their rights. They don't know them.
No, they don't. No. To answer the question, my wife is a big time skeptic about everything. She loves, everything. And she has not personally done UNA for herself, but she and I have done one for our company. And that's something that she's comfortable with now. And she personally really cares a great deal for Kirk. And it's been a great, we're creating a community here. This is a family and a community. Yeah. And we're here. Look, I just want to say this to anybody listening. We have your back. If you go down this road and this doesn't end up well for you or in whatever manner, we're not going to just stop making videos. We're going to go, whoa, wait a minute. What'd you do?
Yeah.
Okay, let's help you fix this.
We'll interview and say, well, you're the only exception to the rule. What did you do wrong?
Yeah, we're not going to let you do that, for number one. Yeah. And that applies to crypto, banking, investments, all the above. That's exactly why we're here. Kirk gives his, I don't know, 60 hours a week doing this stuff, Kirk? Got to be at least.
By Wednesday, yeah, by Wednesday, 60 hours. I mean, like, yeah, all
Tell
the
me.
time. We're always talking to people at midnight and 3 in the morning. I mean, just whatever.
I know. My phone is still blowing up. I'm supposed to be in a meeting 10 minutes ago. All right. It's always a pleasure, Kirk. Until next week, we're going to talk about conspiracies next week. So everybody, please stay tuned. That'll be a lot of fun next week. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get us out of here, Kirk. We'll see you next Wednesday. All right, brother?
Right on, man. Hey, thanks for inviting me. Love being with the community, and you guys be blessed. May Jesus be with you all.
Amen.